So I hammered the, so it's Wednesday, the 16th of November 2016. So I hammered those out. Turns out steel's very forgiving. Good thing for me. I rolled it all across the garage a couple times as best as I can because of the car. Everything's A-okay. Rolls pretty damn straight. Wobbled a tiny little bit, but big enough. Good enough. I'm not going to be running, well, maybe I will. That's pretty low. I either will or won't be running them at a high pressure. You know, I might, to reduce. I haven't decided that yet. I haven't even ridden the damn thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remeasure. I'm going to put the spokes opposite from where they were. This is a mark from the other one. So it ran like this. So I'm going to run it like this. I didn't buy a 2x4. I've got all sorts of stuff. I found a 2x4 the other day. And I don't remember where I put it. That was when I turned you upside down and looked under the desk. I may have just shoved it back under the desk, I don't know. But I have these rough cuts. Well, the problem is they're mostly gone. I think they're oak or they're treated or something. Otherwise, I'm not taking the thing off of my drill press. That broke. I'm sad about that. I could use skis. It might be too bouncy. Let me look around. I just got into the shop today. Time moves quickly. So how am I gonna make sure it's round enough? Try to keep up. Bearings. Original rod. Original bushing. The only reason I did this is because, well, it works and I've got extras, so it doesn't matter. Spins well enough for me. Angled, less angled. Working with one hand is hard. I probably just defended somebody with one hand. It's true enough for me. I'm gonna flip it over and see if it does the same thing. I don't think it's quite seated on that other tire. Oh, and it's wobbling side to side. Yeah, that might be part of it. Yeah, it's definitely wobbling from side to side. I'll see if I can counteract that. No, I don't think it's seated. No, that middle rod ain't. That's definitely the rim. Fuck. Okay, maybe it is gonna be as hard as I thought it was gonna be. Great. I'll be back. So I decided I'm gonna shove my jack in there and stretch it this way because the spoke that was in there went like this. Let's see if I can stretch it that way and even it out and flip it over and do the same. I can't film with one hand, I'm sorry. That'll be a small side project soon. A homemade tripod for the iPhone. For anything. I'll make it so it clamps. Yeah. Alright, so I've done both sides now. What I did is I just cranked it down until my little piece of red oak hardwood flooring started crackling. I nailed it to a piece of pine, pre-drilling the oak so it didn't crack or anything. And I just cranked down on it with the 2.5 ton jack until it started crackling. And now I'm going to put it back on my truing stand. And see if we fixed anything. If we didn't, I'm going to give up on these rims. No, I'm going to keep trying is what I'm going to do. I really don't want to have to go through taking the fucking tires off and putting them back on by hand again. Seeding them with gasoline. Dangerous shit. And if I use the other rims, they're not going to have the same middle part here. They don't, actually. None of them do. I've got 3. Let's take the tire off of that one. I'm going to keep trying to re-straighten these until it works. Even if I have to go find somebody with a hydraulic piston. I'm sure somebody around here's got one. One of them machine shops or something. So, I'm gonna set it up and turn the camera back on when I'm done. It's about an hour later, I was fucking around with this thing, put it back on the thing, on the jack. I'm just gonna take the tires off and use the new rims. I've got 2 that already have the tires off. They're the original ones that this tire and the front tire came off of. I'm gonna redo both rims with new wood because there's no way to fix these. I ain't getting rid of them, but there's no way to fix them. It was a good learning experience, but besides that, it's just angering. It's supposed to snow tonight, and my plow bike is in tatters. And then on top of that, I still have to paint it. Which is going to be a pain with the car and all this crap in here. I'll have to clean stuff up and build a little painting booth. It's going to be great. I hope. Alright, so it's now the 20th of November, a couple days later, and this is what I have. I have 2 rims with chunks cut out of them, and I have 2 tires full of water. It's better than where I started, but it's not where I want it to be. I'm not getting rid of these. My mom is a sculptor, sculptor, artist, sculpture, I don't know. Anyway, she has made some stuff with rims in the past. And that's what I'm going to do with these. And this remnant here. This came out of one of these. And then I've got another center somewhere that's got a slice in it. And then I've got the two rims that are just normal car rims. You could bolt them up to a car, put tires on them, and they'd be good right now. Except for, of course, this one is missing the valve stem. But besides that, I'm going to go with the plan where I cut the spokes to the correct length, and then I'll have to use shims or some sort, or something along those lines, to get everything centered. And I'm going to use wooden spokes again. I'm not giving up on my original plan, as I said before, I believe. I didn't go and watch all the videos that I've already saved to my phone from Wednesday and Thursday night, I think. But that's where I am now, Sunday night. Oh, I made a bead breaker. It works pretty well. It really needs to be bolted to the floor, because what I have to do now is jam it under this lip. And this wasn't planned or anything, but it just happens to work. I jam it under this lip, and then I have my brother standing on the table, pushing off the rafter, pushing down, and then I'm on the other end using an old standard issue jack to the bend goes here, and then the straight parts go here. Like it's a triangle, so there's a bend here and then up, and the bend and then up, and then there's nothing in the middle, and that sits here, and then I push down. There's a couple shims in there because I didn't measure quite right, but it works, so I'm not gonna mess with it. And these are just skis, and I've got several different settings. Right now I'm using zip ties because I didn't want to drill any more holes, and that's why this has to be used to hold everything together. But it's the redneck way. Arr. I've got this huge piece of angle iron in here. That's going to be the tire chain for the back, and then I'll have to make something for the front, unless I can find another one. That's what happened with this one, I just found it. I think that's all I have to say. I'll get back to you as soon as I have some videos compiled, and yeah, I think that's it. Goodbye.